Hey, what's up? Thank you for tuning in to today's video. Today we're going to be covering tiling in Easel. So, for starters, what does tiling mean? So, let's say that you have a CNC machine with a specific cut area and you want to make something on a piece of wood that's larger than your cut area. You would need to use the tiling method. Now let's get into it. So let's consider that this pegboard is your spoil board. Okay, this is your Y axis and this is your X. Now this square that just popped up we'll consider to be your actual CNC cut area. So one method that I find that works is create a file where you drill some holes on the left side. I like to use 3/8 holes, and then I will put a 3/8 diameter dowel into those areas. So let's say hypothetically we put 3 dowel holes and we put 3 dowels in there. We're going to use those as a guide. Now if we let the CNC make those, we know that those holes are going to be square to each other and that your piece, you have less to worry about essentially. Okay. So now we've got our dowel holes in place in our spoil board. We're going to go ahead and insert the wood. So you can see I have the dowels showing on the left side there, and there's our piece of wood. So if we wanted to tile, what we need to do is we need to set our artwork to be the size that we need it, but it's going to break it into 2 parts. So the dowels are going to come in handy here because once we carve this part here, we're going to need to slide the wood down to its next spot and tell it to continue the carve, which would be the second file. So if that makes sense. So we have our wood in place, we have it up against the dowels, we do our first file carve, and then we load in our second file, and we slide our wood down to the spot that it needs to be. All right, does that make sense? So now I'm going to kick over to Easel, and I'm going to show you on Easel how you would set up the tiling. All right, so I'm in Easel here. You can see that we have a file that I created a while back for the tar heels, and you can see that I adjusted the machine. So for starters, in Easel here, if you go to machine and you go to edit your machine, here's your work area. Okay, so if you haven't done this with your CNC yet in Easel, probably a good point to do that. This way, when you're doing your designs, it'll show you your actual spoil board size. So for the simulation, you can see I have an Evolution 4 sitting in here. That's not the machine I'm using. I don't cut from Easel, but I do create a lot of work in here, right? So for the simulation, we have the CNC set up to be 12 inches by 12 inches. And we're going to head and hit save. And then you can see we have our dotted line here to let us know that that is the diameter that our machine handles, 12 by 12. All right. Now you can see that I have a flag set up to cut that's 11 1/4 by 22 inches. Okay. Now, if you remember in the diagram, it showed the y-axis, which is here, and the x. All right. So first disclaimer is you can only tile on the y-axis because your CNC obviously is going to have rails on the side. Okay. So for most of you that carve and you carve this direction when you're doing your artwork, for tiling you're going to want to rotate it to this diameter. All right, so we're going to go up here to where our stock is, and we're going to select tiling, enable tiling, and then it's going to ask us how many numbers of tiles do we need. Now, my machine has a 12-inch radius, so at 22 inches for the Y length, we can do that in 2 different tiles. Okay, and it's letting us know here that tile 1 is going to go up to 11 inches. See how it makes this indicator? And it's going to utilize the entire x-axis there. Then the second tile is going to be at 12 inches. So if I select that, you're going to see that it's the the rest of the artwork. Okay, it's going to set it up in that area. So if we were to go ahead and set this up, it's going to set it up in two different files. So we're going to need to know that if the first tile is going to carve from 0 and 0 up to 11 inches, what you're going to want to do is get your board set in place, and then you're going to want to slide, you're going to want to make a mark at 11 inches, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to slide that down all the way down to here, right? So your 11-inch mark, you're going to slide down to here, and then you're going to carve again, and it's going to do the duration of the file. Okay, now if I was to try to download the G code on this, it's going to give us two different files when we do that. Okay, so when you're downloading the G code, right, so you're going to want to select the tile, right? So tile 1, you would go up, you would download your code, and then you're going to want to come over to here, tile 2, download the G code, and then just for test, we're going to go over here to this site. Love to use this site. It's called ncviewer.com. I'll put it in the description of the video. All right, this one here, we zoom out, we can see some squares indicate, inches. So we're going to take the first file here, and I'm going to drag it in, and you can see if I zoom out, you can see how we're starting at the 0 here, right? It's going to come out and do its thing. You can see it's going to stop right around there. Okay, this site's pretty cool. You can hit play on it and zoom in and watch it. Okay, this site comes in handy if you ever feel like you got a file from someone that's just not right. Drop it in here. If it looks right and it's carving, there's nothing wrong with the file. All right, so that's file 1. Remember, it's got the stars. We're going to take the second file, drop it in there, and there's the rest of the file. All right, so super cool website here, and that's your tricks to doing tiling. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. As always, appreciate you watching. Have a great day.